All right, so today let's do a video on all the Disney things that I've watched in the past month, I believe. Well, I guess a little longer with She-Hulk, but I have forgotten to review a lot of these movies. It's just been a busy month, so I'm going to do a video all at once with all these Disney-related things. I'm going to talk about Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, She-Hulk, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and then Andor and Tales of the Jedi, which are Star Wars, of course, and then Disenchanted, which is the sequel to Enchanted from 2007. But let's start out with Black Panther 2, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which is a movie that really was really interesting, but at first, with the idea behind it, because Chadwick Boseman had passed away from cancer at age 44 or 45, I believe, which is way too young. Um, and I really felt really bad whenever he died, even though I never knew him personally or never met him. But man, he just really was fantastic in that first Black Panther, and he was also great in a lot of other movies, like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I remember he was in Defy Bloods too, but I don't remember much about that one. But Chadwick Boseman, I thought was really a fantastic actor, and it's just such a tragic thing to see him actually pass away too early in life. Um, and it was interesting because then the movie, the second Black Panther, was kind of put on hold, but kind of not. Where like they were debating on what to do. What do we do now? He's gone. Um, and this movie does a really good job of that with the emotion of T'Challa being gone, just like his real life counterpart. The movie opens up with him gone, and I really like that. The basic plot of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, though, is that Namor, who is an underwater, a guy who is a leader of this underwater tribe, is creating a war with the Wakandans over vibranium. And that's the basic plot of this. Also, them trying to get over the fact that their king is dead is basically the big plot of this. Even though this movie is almost 3 hours long, this is like 2 hours and 45 minutes long. The thing I really loved about this movie, though, is it didn't feel like that at all. I was genuinely invested throughout. I thought that the performances in this were really, really well done. Um, I forgot how to pronounce her name, but the girl who plays Shuri, um, Letitia, right? I thought she was really good, and I thought that she probably really showed real emotions for this actual person who died that she was good friends with, and it really shows in the movie how great of a performance it is and how it really was based in real life tragedy. And I really liked her performance. She was really hard. It was really heartbreaking for her to watch this character, but she was interesting and still funny and still good like the first movie. Um, I thought all of the actors involved, like I thought, were pretty much great. Angela Bassett is really good. She's got a scene that it's like she's trying to win an Oscar for sure, but she is great in the movie as well. Lupita Nyong'o is great. Denai Guerra is great. All of these actors just do a really great job, and also Winston Duke as M'Baku is really funny, and he really surprises me with how humorous he can be because his jokes really worked for me. Whenever he calls Denai Guevara's character Okoye, he calls her a bald demon. Like it was just a really funny executed line. It was genuinely hilarious. Um, the movie too looks really visually pleasing. It feels in moments like an old school 70s action adventure movie where they're going around the world and finding these, like going underwater and trying to find this new civilization. It's really interesting. The movie also does kind of crib on the fact that it is connected to the Marvel universe, so they're going to have all these connections which didn't really completely need to be there. I guess they are in enough to where they make sense in the movie, but it's weird because this movie doesn't feel that long, but it feels like it adds in stuff that could be cut, if that makes sense, or stuff that's not like fully interest invested in this particular movie, and they're setting up future movies and shows. Like for example, the girl who's going to be an Ironheart is in this movie, and she's got a prominent role. Um, you've also got Everett Ross again, and his story is most likely just all connected to Thunderbolts, and it was more than I expected with this character and this secret character that appears as well in with Everett Ross. It's weird that they added in this kind of thing where this character has kind of a new story, but it's connected to the next Marvel movies and shows. It's not like the movie is completely self-contained, which isn't a giant issue, but because it's a universe, I know they're building it up, but could have been trimmed slightly. Um, but the only real thing that, and I might think differently if I watch this again, but I really didn't think Namor was that interesting of a character. I thought that um, Killmonger from the first Black Panther was really, really well done. Michael B. Jordan was so interesting in that role, and he's so great in the role, and you got his reasoning behind behind why he's doing what he's doing in that movie. And in this movie, you've got Namor, who is, it kind of feels like it's the syndrome of this, we're like the heroes, the villains like the heroes, we're the same kind of similarities from what I remember since I watched this like a month ago. But I think it's very similar with the heroes the same as the villain kind of story. um and which one's the villain, which one's the hero, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. And it's not badly done with this performance, but it just felt like the character was just not as interesting as a villain as Killmonger. I thought Killmonger was way better. It's not a big insult to say that I didn't love the character Namor, but I just was not that invested. That's my only really big gripe with it. But besides that, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was really good, really, and it was funny as well. And I liked how, even though it was a sad film, like it had some moments of good humor, and I thought that they had some hilarious moments. These characters, and I thought that they had good chemistry together. I thought this movie had good stakes, even though it's the typical Marvel formula. It did a great job of it. So I really like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Not as much as the first one, but I think it's still pretty good. Like it is a good sequel for sure. Um, then let's talk about She-Hulk, which I had forgotten to talk about. I watch this, of course, every Thursday. I think they made it Thursday for She-Hulk instead of Wednesdays on Disney Plus. Yeah, I watched it every Thursday the day it came out. She-Hulk is, of course, about Jennifer Walters, cousin of Bruce Banner, who accidentally becomes a Hulk herself. Um, but she's She-Hulk. She's this attorney at law. She does this thing where she is still doing court stuff, but it kind of gets in the way of her becoming a Hulk as well. And I think that was fun about it. I thought that this was actually really fun. I really liked She-Hulk as a show. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought the performance of the main girl was really good. I thought that she was funny. I thought that she had good comedic timing. Um, I thought that the show, while random, did a good job of its randomness, if that makes sense. Like this character is meeting all these characters, um, to support them in court, and I just thought that they were all interesting with the Frogman, with bringing Daredevil back, which is awesome. I love seeing Daredevil back. It was great to connect him back. Um, and I love the drunk girl that Wong is hanging out with. I'm forgetting her name right now. Addison, I think, is her name. Where she says the line like, "It's spelled one way, but it's not the way you think." Like that girl, I thought she was genuinely funny, and I thought that the show did a good job of being genuinely just hilarious. Like I was really invested and interested in in the character. I thought that the side characters were really funny and fun. It definitely doesn't take itself seriously. So if people are taking this seriously, I don't really get it, because it's not trying to be that. It's trying to just be goofy and silly and dumb. And I had a good time with it. I thought it was fun. Um, then Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, which just came out like a week or two ago. Um, Now it's got all the Guardians in it. It's a Disney Plus special. The second, I think, special after Werewolf by Night, which is really good. But this one is the second Marvel Disney Plus special, where the Guardians of the Galaxy, um, Star Lord is feeling down because he doesn't have Gamora. Because of course, if you've seen the Marvel movies, where Gamora is now, where's she at? Um, we don't know, but he's sad. So then Mantis and Drax go to Earth and get Kevin Bacon and try to take him to space to please Star Lord and make him feel better about himself, on the holiday time. I thought that that was really fun. I really dug the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special because it was just such fluffy, light fun. Like, it was genuinely just entertaining. I really like seeing Drax and Mantis like kind of be the main stars here. You've of course got the other ones, but they're not as prominent as Drax and Mantis. They're the stars here, basically. Um, and they both have really good chemistry, like they do in the movies, and they're really funny, and they just really win me over. And just looking at how this show also doesn't have a villain in it, I think is great. This is the first thing apparently in the MCU that doesn't have a villain. That's awesome, and I really like that, just because it's so different than what you expect, you know. So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special I thought was fun. Pretty much all I can say about it. I thought it was entertaining. Then let's get on to the Star Wars stuff. So the first thing I watched or finished was season 1 of Andor, which is of course the character Cassian Andor, who is in Rogue One. And this show surprises me because it feels less like Star Wars in a good way. And this is coming from a person that loves most of the Star Wars movies, even the controversial ones, like The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. You know, like it's funny with Star Wars and toxic fandom. Like, it's interesting that we get so many Star Wars things, and I'm still glad because I love Star Wars no matter what. But Andor, I thought was really interesting in how different it was from being Star Wars. It really is a political thriller. Um, it's a political thriller, and also it's a gritty, like, kind of war thriller too. It's a political thriller in which Mon Mothma is on Coruscant trying to create the rebellion. But also it's about Cassian Andor, who is getting into all kinds of trouble, who's a smuggler, who's doing all these things that's getting him into bad situations, and he tries to get out of them. And the performances in this were really good. I thought Diego Luna is good in Rogue One as well. He's awesome in that. But man, I really like that we get so much time with this character, and he's a good actor, and he really does a great job with this. And the woman Genevieve Riley, I think is her name, who plays Mon Mothma, is really good, and she just really keeps almost to a T following this role that was barely in the original trilogy, just in Return of the Jedi, which is great. I really love seeing her, this actress, play her. You've also got Stellan Skarsgård, who does a really good job as well, and I'm forgetting the character's name, but he does awesome. You've also got Fiona Shaw, who I know from Harry Potter, of course, is really good, and she gives a really good emotional beat in this show that, like, by the end of the show, you're like, wow, that really worked and was effective. She was great. The girl from Morbius is in it. The girlfriend from Morbius, I forgot what her name is. She's good too. All the performances are good. It really follows Star Wars in a way where you don't expect it. It really doesn't feel like Star Wars, and that's awesome. I really like that. I can't wait for next season because this still. I guess you could end it here probably if you wanted to Rogue One, but I know they're going to do more seasons. They said they're going to. So I'm satisfied either way. I really like this show. Really good. And then the second Star Wars thing I watched was Tales of the Jedi, which is badass. This is a animated show, the same animation from the Clone Wars and Rebels, where you get side stories from characters that you didn't really get that much information on. Um, there's a really fantastic episode with Count Dooku and how he turns. There's a great episode with Qui Gon Jinn developing and also connecting with Count Dooku. There's a great episode with Ahsoka, who is of course prominent in most of the Clone Wars, but like they even with her managed to find more about her. That's great. Um, this one actually emotionally just drives home really, really well. I really was surprised with the fact that these characters, while they're developed in the other Star Wars media, in terms of the films and the shows, they did more here than I expected, and these characters are just fascinating. I liked what they did with them, and they did a great job setting up these couple characters. And like, there's like 6 episodes, I think, and they're like 10 minutes to like 20 minutes long, so they're really short. But they did a great job. A lot of quiet moments, a lot of eerie moments. And I really love that about Tales of the Jedi. That's awesome. I thought that was great. Tales from the Jedi is really awesome. Um, and like I said, I've seen the Clone Wars and Rebels, and those are great shows as well. But this one, man, it's just a good addition. Oh yeah, and I've also seen the Bad Batch. I guess that counts too. That one was great as well. But this is another good addition to the Star Wars animated shows. And then the last thing I watched was Disenchanted, which is the sequel to Enchanted from 2007, the movie with Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey, where this princess in the animated world comes to the real world in that movie, and she has to learn what the real world's about while she sings about it. And I thought that the original Enchanted was actually really kind of charming and fun, and it it really I forget how good it is. Like it's actually really good and fun. Disenchanted is the sequel where they move from New York, the family, and then they move to this um, kind of place where it's not New York. It's totally a small town, and then Giselle, who Amy Adams plays, starts becoming evil. She becomes the wicked stepmother, and then the villain of the movie, played by Maya Rudolph, starts to take over. And I'll say this: I really was disappointed in this one, and I wasn't expecting much because I thought the original Enchanted was fun and entertaining, and then this one I was like, okay, I'll watch it because of course I see everything. I'm gonna watch every movie, especially stuff that I've seen the original to. I'm gonna see the sequel to no matter what. And man, I was disappointed in this one. This one is not that fun or not that interesting. It is pretty much one of those direct to video Disney animated sequels, but in live action. It starts out with this animated squirrel talking about, oh, this is what happened after the first Enchanted. With the happily ever after, it's not so happy no more. They moved, and then she becomes an evil stepmother. But then, of course, she goes back. Of course, at the end, you know it's gonna happen. But it's narrated at first by the squirrel and his cartoon family, and it's like that at first kind of took away the credibility to it, just because it felt like a direct-to-video sequel, like Disney did in the 2000s and or late 90s. I guess early 90s, kind of early 90s, late 2000s. But I'll say this: Amy Adams is really good. She really owns the movie in terms of the performance. She's great, like the first one. I could tell that she is really trying to make this role better than what it is because it's just not very well written. The movie is just not very interesting, and I really am sad that it just didn't do anything for me, which is a shame because we got Hocus Pocus 2 in October, or I guess it was the end of September this year. That one was really fun, and that one genuinely surprised me at how entertaining it was. This one surprised me in how not very good it was. The music was not catchy at all or good. The only song I thought was slightly catchy was the Idina Menzel one, but that's because she's just a great singer. But everything else, I thought, man, this is just really lame. The music was lame. The characters are not interesting. It was basically, like I said, a direct-to-video Disney sequel. There was nothing interesting about the characters that they did in this one that made it warrant existence, at least to me. But if kids like that, that's fine. This is not really my demographic either, but I didn't hate it, but I really didn't think it was that great. It was really whatever. Not very special. Definitely reeked of direct to video Disney. Yeah, I went to Disney Plus, so I guess this is the new direct to video Disney sequel kind of route, which is unfortunate. But like I said, Hocus Pocus 2 was great. So it's not like every Disney sequel that's been coming out on Disney Plus I haven't liked, because I did like Hocus Pocus 2. Um, yeah, so it's just this one I didn't like. I thought it was a dud. Pretty lame. But that is it for all the Disney stuff I've watched recently. Like I said, I've been neglecting this for a while. Just been busy with life, so I needed to catch up. But yeah, I got more videos coming up, mostly horror after this. I just needed to do a catch up video on all these Disney movies and shows. But yeah, I enjoyed most of these, so that's totally fine. Yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you guys later. Take care.